Willow and I would like to welcome you back to the channel. Hey besties, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna do something fun. By the time you're watching this video, we are in the thick of August. And if you are anything like me, then you're probably going to need a fall reading guide. So I got you besties. So today I've put together a list of 30 cozy fall, autumn book recommendations for you. I've broken up my recommendations into 7 categories. Willow is not joining us, I guess. I've broken up my recommendations into 7 different categories. Cozy fantasy, fantasy just like general fantasy, romantasy, romance with no magic, romance with like a little magic, cozy mystery, and finally thriller. All of these books are books that I have read and that I recommend for you. I also want to point out that I am more of like a fall cozy girly and not really like a Halloween thriller horror movie girly. More pumpkins and cute little ghosts and less vampires and blood. Yeah. Anyway, I also have 30 books to talk about. So I'm going to try to keep all of the descriptions really short and simple so that you guys get like the vibe of the book. I guess let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with cozy fantasy. This I feel like has been so popular on Book Talk, Instagram, just like everywhere of people wanting just cozy fantasies. So these books are all like low risk, not very intense, easy reads. Yeah, but still fantasy, still magic, take place in like a magical world, but cozy. The first book is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is the most popular one. It's a like more recent release of a book. It's everywhere. This is the epitome of a cozy fantasy. After a lifetime of bounties and bloodshed, Viv is hanging up her sword for the last time. The battle-weary orc aims to start fresh, opening the first ever coffee shop in the city of Thune, but old and new rivals stand in the way of success, not to mention the fact that no one has the faintest idea of what coffee actually is. It's literally so cozy. My next recommendation is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is a more of like a historical fantasy. It's still very cozy, I would say. It overall is like so beautifully written that it's just beautiful. This book is about 2 rival journalists who find love through a mysterious, magical connection. It is so beautifully written. This book will make you believe in love again. Next is The Bookshop and the Barbarian by Morgan Stagg. This is a low-stake, comedic, and cozy fantasy with a little bit of romance. It is about the celebration of books, autumn, winter, community, friendship, and unexpected love. This book has a lot of fourth wall breaking, so if you're into that kind of thing, this is for you. The next category is just general fantasy. My first recommendation is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I will always recommend this book no matter what season it is. This book is about a very skilled assassin who is trying to like find her place in the world, basically. This is an 8-book series. It's intense, but it is the best thing. It is my favorite book series I've ever read in my life. Next is Curious Tides by Pascal Lachelle. I don't know how to say his name. This book is magical college, secret societies, solving the mystery of like student deaths, and then also just discovering the secrets about magic. This is a very unique magic system, at least to me. I haven't read anything like this before, and I really enjoyed it. Next is Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a young adult fantasy. The main character was 7 years old when her parents were murdered, and she was taken into the fairy world. The story takes place 10 years later when the main character is just trying to find her place in the world. This is a trilogy. I think there's like another break-off series. What's that called? I don't know what that's called. My brain hurts. I can't. But I think there's another book that came out that's related to this series but isn't like directly a part of it. My next category is much bigger. There's 8 books in this category, and it's for romantasy. I feel like fall is the time for romantasy. This is the best time to read these books. They're going to hit so much harder than if you're going to be reading them in any other season. I love these. Of course, my first recommendation is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is a Beauty of the Beast retelling. It is a 4-book series. It's unfinished, so that is something to keep in mind. It is very popular. If you haven't heard about this book series, I don't know what to tell you. It's so good. So in this book, there is a morally gray love interest, which a lot of people are into. There's also curse breaking. She's trying to break the curse. Next, I am going to recommend for Wing by Rebecca Yarros. If you haven't heard about this one or ACOTAR, get on Book Talk early. You got a lot to learn. This is about a war college for dragon riders. There's another morally great love interest, so if you're into that kind of thing. Definite enemies to lovers. There are currently 2 books out in this series, and I believe it's going to be a series of 5. So again, an unfinished series. Everyone at this war college has an agenda because once you enter, there are only 2 ways out: graduate or die. There you go. Next is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This book is another like trying to break the curse for a cursed kingdom situation. There's an unjust king, of course, gotta try to overthrow him. It is very gothic vibes, and I absolutely loved the magic system in this book. It's all about playing cards. This is also a duology. Two Twisted Fates, I believe, is the second book, which is also very good. Recommend both. Next is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This is a 3-book series. This one definitely is giving more Halloween vibes. This is about witches and the princes of hell and vampires a little bit too. This series does take place in Italy, which I think is so fun. The main plot of this is solving the case of her twin sister's death, figuring out what happened, why it happened, and what she was up to before she died. Next is Throne of the Fallen, also by Carrie Maniscalco. So this series focuses on the other princes of hell. So this book follows Envy and Camilla, who embark on a perilous journey through the underworld, from glittering demon courts to sultry vampire realm and beyond, while trying to avoid the most dangerous trap of all, falling in love. What do you have to say about that one? I also want to mention that there is only 1 book out in this series so far. Ooh. I'm not sure how many books are going to be in this series, but the second one is coming out on September 24th, I believe. Next romantasy is the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. The first book is called Guild. This is a King Midas retelling where the king, anything that he touches turns to gold, and it's about his love interest. Again, another morally gray love interest. Our female main character has to, it's the Plated Prisoner series, so she is a little trapped, if you will, and it's her story of like breaking out and finding herself. The next romantasy that I have is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. This is about a girl who gets caught between 2 treacherous fairy courts and their princes. This one is a friends to lovers, also a morally gray love interest, definitely a love triangle vibe. This book follows Bree, who historically hates fae and refuses to have anything to do with them. Unfortunately, her sister is stolen by a fairy king, so she has to go to the fae world and try to get her back. And my last romantasy recommendation is A Realm of Ash and Shadow by Laura Buckheit. I think I'm saying that right. But this book starts off with demons crashing our female main character's prom, and she's forced back into the Fae world, which she's been like running from her whole life. This book is very fast-paced. It also has a morally gray love interest and is enemies to lovers. It's good, it's fast, it's quick, and it's fun. Okay, my next category has 5 total books. This is the cozy romance with no magic. So this is like, think Gilmore Girls, small town vibes. Not all of these are like particularly fall-y, but they're giving that small town vibe that I look for in the fall. The first book that I'm recommending is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is a small town and big city vibes. 2 sisters go to a small town and they start working through a small town bucket list where they're trying to do typical, stereotypical, like small town things. This is a beautiful story with an unlikely romance and is an exploration of grief, growth, and finding love. Next is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This book is about a famous singer who escapes her hectic life by vacationing in a small town. The male main character is a pie shop owner, and he is perfect. This book is the epitome of a small town trope. The rumors, the gossip, the town, like all of it. Definitely a grumpy sunshine, I would say, and forced proximity. So if you're into those kind of things. Next is Done and Dusted. I feel like this is another one that like I'll recommend year round. But this definitely gives small town vibes. This is brother's best friend, and then also cowboy, rancher romance. This book follows the female main character who is a professional barrel racer, and she goes back home after an accident. The male main character helps her gain her confidence back It's very cute, it's very fun, it's very sweet. Next is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. This one starts with Flawless. This is another cowboy romance. It is a Grumpy Sunshine, Forced Proximity, small town cowboy romance. But this one is about a professional bull rider who is the male main character and his manager's daughter, who's forced to babysit him to stop him from causing another major PR crisis. I've read 3 of the books in the series so far, and I've loved every single one of them. I highly recommend. My last book in the romance no magic series is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This is another historical fiction. This book has a dual timeline going on, so some chapters take place in a female-owned apothecary back in time, 1800s maybe. I might be making that up, maybe even older. This is an apothecary run by females who very secretly and discreetly help give poison to women to free themselves from like bad situations. The other timeline that this book follows is present day in London, where the female main character is a historian. She's going through a breakup and she finds an old apothecary bottle in the river, and she goes into a deep dive and she solves like centuries old murders, all connecting back to this old apothecary. Next category is romance with a little bit of magic. I have 5 books in here, so buckle up. The first book that I recommend is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This one is a paranormal romance. So this is a vampire werewolves. It is a very, very, very light dipping of your toes into the Omegaverse, which deserves its own video, honestly. I don't know if I really want to talk about the Omegaverse, to be frank with you. But if you have questions, comment them down below and I will answer them there. But yeah, this book is about 2 courts, the vampire court and the werewolf court, who have been historically like dueling, like not battling, but like they've been at each other's heads for a long time, trying to keep the peace. So someone from the werewolf world goes and stays in the vampire area of the city, and then someone from the vampire area of the city actually gets married to someone in the vampire area of the city, trying to keep peace. And then we find out that peace is not being kept. That was convoluted, but I loved that book. I gave that book 5 stars. The next book is also like Omegaverse vibes. So this one is The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. This book is a shifter romance, so it's not fully Omegaverse because they do actually like turn into werewolves. This one is a fake dating trope. This book follows 2 shifter doctors who are helping each other in this fake dating situation. So the female main character is being able to like get her grandma off her back, who's been trying to convince her to like start a family. And then it also, the fake dating is helping the male main character, who is a doctor who is about to lose his job over his like alpha status. So they work together and fake dating, you know what happens. Next is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one is a magical realism situation. So not like a magical world, but it does take place in a magical apartment that can go back in time and forward in time 7 years, and you never know when it's going to do that. This book is so beautifully written. This one will make you believe in love again. Winston has come to join us. The next book is My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. This one is giving more Halloween vibes, so if you're into that kind of thing. This one is just like fun and silly. The female main character finds an apartment. She ends up finding out that her roommate is a vampire. This is like an old vampire who has to adjust to the modern world, which is why he's getting a roommate to begin with. So this follows her teaching him things about existing in a modern world. My next recommendation is also silly and fun. This is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. This one is very, very light on the magic. This is obviously a fake dating trope. I think it's very clear what happens to your fake dating a demon. And my last recommendation that's just a little bit magic-y is a novel love story, also by Ashley Poston. This story follows a female main character who finds herself transported into the world of her favorite book series. This one is also light on the romance. It's also a little bit of like solving the mystery of how is she supposed to get home. My camera is gonna die, so I need to plug it in. Okay, we're back. I charged my camera, I ate some ramen, and we're gonna finish this up. The next category is just 3 books. This is the cozy mystery category. The first book is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. This is the first book in the Shady Hollow series. In this book, you are introduced to the village Shady Hollow. This is a place where woodland creatures live together in harmony until a toad turns up dead, and the local reporter has to solve the case. This is just a fun, lighthearted, silly, little cozy mystery vibe. Next is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Sorry. This is another historical fiction / mystery. This book is described on Goodreads as The Mummy Meets Death on the Nile, in an immersive historical fantasy set in Egypt filled with adventure, a rivals to lovers romance, and a dangerous race. Next is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. This book is a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum. And my last category is thriller. I only have 3 books in the series. I'm not the biggest thriller fan to begin with, but these ones I did really enjoy. The first one is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is actually the book that got me into reading, so I highly recommend. This is a psychological thriller. The main girl is in basically like a psych ward for killing her husband, and since she did that, she has not spoken a word. The therapist is trying to figure out what the heck happened. Next is The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This is a suburban thriller. Goodreads says it's really well. The Wife Upstairs flips the script on a timeless tale of forbidden romance, ill-advised attraction, and a wife who just won't stay buried. I feel like if I explain it any more than that, it will spoil it. And my last recommendation is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is his latest release. This is about a man who moves back to his childhood home, and in the backyard of the childhood home is where his best friend disappeared. And so he moves back home years later. Weird things start happening, and he has to discover the truth about his best friend's disappearance. Okay, besties, that was everything. That was 30 books that you can add to your TBR. If there are any books that you recommend for fall in any of these categories, or if you want to create your own category that you think I missed, then definitely add them to the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got this far and you're not subscribed, what the heck are you doing? Subscribe. You watched this entire video, I think you should subscribe. I'll also have my Goodreads linked down below if you want to keep up to date on what I'm reading and my review on them, my ratings, and all of that. And then also follow me on Instagram. That will also be linked down below. That's where you can stay up to date on just like what me and my puppies are doing. I think that's it. Happy fall, everyone. Hope you have the best day that you've ever had in your entire life, the day that you're watching this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.